Well, Russia's presidential spokesperson has given reassurances that everything is under control following claims US hackers had managed to penetrate key infrastructure controls in the country.
Cybersecurity measures are taken in accordance with the threat level addressed by other countries.
Well, for more on this, Roman Kosarev joins me in the studio to talk about this a bit more. Roman, a new hacking scandal every day now, it seems, isn't it?
Well, this hacking frenzy seems to be taking headlines right now in the US and, well, apparently now in Russia as well. And Russia has been accused of, without any proof, I must say, that it infiltrated Democratic National Convention and all of the other things as well. And now we had a report from one of mainstream media outlets in the United States, NBC. They reported that hackers working for the U.S. government now infiltrated a Russian infrastructure and Kremlin command center. But let's take a look at that piece from NBC.
According to a high-level intelligence official and top-secret documents reviewed by NBC News, the U.S. has penetrated the Russian control systems in key areas, including telecommunications, the electrical power grid, and even inside the Kremlin.
Well, we already heard from a Russian foreign ministry, namely from a spokesperson, Maria Zakharova. She said that if we don't get an official reaction from the U.S. government anytime soon, then in that case, we have all the right to accuse Washington of cyber terrorism. And speaking of that, U.S. Vice President Joe Biden, as early as last month in October, he was voicing threats of cyber attacks against Russia. But let's have a look at what he said back then.
Why haven't we sent a message yet to Putin?
We're sending a message. We have the capacity to do it, and the message
He'll know it?
that he'll know it.
Will the public know it?
I hope not.
Well, this kind of hysteria seems to be everywhere at the moment and seems to intensify as we get closer and closer to the U.S. election. And I don't know what else we're going to get over the next, 2 or 3 days before U.S. election takes place. So, let's watch this space and see what else happens.
Indeed, hopefully it'll quieten down after we know who's claiming the White House, as you say, in the next 2-3 days or so. Roman Kosarev there bringing us the latest on another US-Russia hacking scandal. Well, without further ado, let's get some more analysis from Annie Machon. She's a former MI5 intelligence officer. Bring us some more insight on just how credible these claims are. Annie, thanks for joining us here on RT International. Great to have you with us as usual. What's your take on this? How credible are these threats, or is this simply perhaps a double bluff of some sort?
I think it's very much a double bluff, sort of saber rattling. I mean, there seems to be no evidence to implicate the Russian state in the so-called hacking claims in the run-up to the American election. And perhaps America is just saying, don't try anything on the day, otherwise we will retaliate. I think it'd be a very dangerous path to go down of starting to launch cyber terrorist attacks. I also think that it shows that the American establishment is actually rather worried that Trump might carry the day during the elections. So they're setting up this sort of myth that if you happen to win, then it must be from outside interference, tampering with the election results. And I fail to see how now the election, which has been incredibly divisive to date, how it's going to actually bring America together afterwards. Because if Trump wins, the American establishment will blame the Russians, as we're seeing they're lining up to do. And if Hillary Clinton wins, then the Trump campaign will say, oh no, but they've been tampering with the voting computers and rigged the election in America. So I can't see how it can be a sort of conclusive result, even on the 8th of November.
Seems like a lose-lose situation all round, doesn't it, Annie? But just in terms of these hacking allegations from the American side, we do know that most countries now, most powers, do have special sections in their intelligence designed to deal with hacking and to try to hack their enemies' systems as well. How dangerous could this be for Russia should this threat prove credible, in the event, of course, that it does prove real?
I think it will be incredibly dangerous for Russia, and also potentially then it will escalate across the rest of the world, because once one side launches a unilateral cyber attack, it's like launching a unilateral missile attack or something. And in terms of physical safety, I mean, if the power grid goes down, the power supply is taken out, and that power supply is needed to run the cooling systems, for example, on nuclear power stations and things like that, then things could get very messy very quickly. And there will be retaliation. If any one country does this, the other countries will have to retaliate. And all our countries are run by these computer grids now, and we're all vulnerable to these sort of cyber attacks.
We've had the reaction, obviously, from the Russian side, the Russian officials saying they expect some sort of comment from US counterparts, either confirming or denying these reports. Do you expect some reaction from the US side?
Oh, it'll be denial, 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 no doubt about that. I think they were just saber-rattling to say we have the capability to do this, but then all major powers have the capability to do this. I would think, though, that it's only America that has aggressively attacked another sovereign state through cyber warfare to date, and that was the release of the Stuxnet virus, which was designed to attack the peaceful nuclear facilities in Iran. Now, they unleashed this virus, and it was effective. Unfortunately, now that virus is out there in the wild and can be mutated and used by other players too. So there are always unforeseen consequences if a country goes down the path of launching cyber warfare. It's very much a sort of terra nova.
And Annie, we mentioned there earlier, I don't know if you had the report from our correspondent, these hacking scandals are coming in thick and fast. The day doesn't go by without some sort of allegation, counter-allegation here. I mean, do you think this will calm down after the elections in 2 or 3 days? Will these hacking scandals die down, or is this here for the long run?
I think it's definitely here for the long run. This is the new front line of any modern warfare. I think also the hysteria is being ramped up because America seems desperate to implicate WikiLeaks in the allegations around Russia, because, of course, that would strengthen their hand in trying to prosecute Julian Assange for espionage. And as I said before, whatever the result of the American election now, one side is going to accuse the other of tampering with that election result. And, you know, the American system particularly, they rely very heavily on voting computers, and it has been demonstrated over about a period of 10 years already how easy it is to flip the vote that you put into a voting computer to get the opposite result from what the people actually want. So I think, you know, either side is going to call foul, and more of these allegations will surface.
I suppose we haven't got long to wait, have we, Annie? Annie Mushon, their former MI5 intelligence officer, bring us her expert take on that latest hacking scandal.